That's Chinese.
I knew the Hello Kitty theme, but
Right, that I don't.
that's a rough category, Japanese.
I guess if you went to a Japanese place, you'd hear it, but it doesn't stick in your head.
Great. We're on. I just had to check to see whether or not we were online. Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Bruchim Habaim. Welcome. I just had to check to see whether we were online, and we are. Right, and it's beautiful. Everybody was telling me it's going to rain. It's going to rain. No, it's not going to rain. I told you, Sharon. It's not going to rain.
It rained at my house.
Did it?
Yeah.
I planned it that way.
Oh, to rain at my house?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Shabbat Shalom. It's great to see everybody. I know other people are going to be joining us. So sorry for the inconvenience about bringing everybody around the back. That's the way we're going to do it from now on for security reasons. So when you come, you just walk around the back.
Maya Hayom Shabbat Shalom Maya Hayom Shabbat Shalom Shabbat Shabbat Shalom Shabbat Shabbat Shalom Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom. Maya Hayom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Maya Hayom, Shabbat, Shalom.
Let's begin our service with the lighting of the candles on page 1, or page 2 actually, of our Siddur. Whatever you want to do.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu b'hadin eretz Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של Shabbat.
And I'm just going to reach over to get the Kiddush cup. I'll do it this way. We welcome the Shabbat bride, and Shabbat is is the image of a bride. And Mark and Laura, you're not allowed to answer this question. In which rabbinic idea, with which rabbinic book, is the idea that the Jews are the bride of God? This is for $50 and the trip to Belmar. Okay? It's the Song of Songs, where it's the man and his lover, and the rabbis interpret it as Jews and Israel, and we also interpret the woman as Shabbat. And so we welcome her, and we are delighted. And that's what Oneg Shabbat means. It means the delight of Shabbat, right? It doesn't mean cookie. And when we get to the last verse, we turn any which way we want, and we welcome the Shabbat bride, and with any luck, the deers will show up.
Lecha dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmi'anu el hamichad Adonai echad U'shmo echad L'shemu tiferet ve'litchila Lecha dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha Ki hi mekor haberacha Mirosh mikadem nesucha Sof maaseh b'machshavat tchila Lecha dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri Hitoreri Kiva orech Uri 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 Shita biri Kevod Adonai alayich niglam Lecha dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Please rise and face any way you wish as we welcome the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala Gam b'simcha u'tzola Tov emunei am segula Boi chala likrat kala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat mekabela lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat mekabela.
Please remain standing. We continue on page 5. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bi'alma divrach rutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayetech al Beit Yisrael Bahagala uv'izman karivim eru.
Amen.
Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam alal me'al maya yithbarach Yithbarach v'yishtabach v'yithbar v'yithramam v'yithnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudisha Lehela min kalbechatha v'shiratha tushbechatha v'nechematha ta'amiran be'alma v'yimeru.
Amen.
Amen. Be minor.
Yes. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la
be seated. Please join with me on page 8. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, behochma potech sha'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, bamishmarotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai tzevaot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam v'ed baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim, praised are you, O God, who brings on the evening.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו
Praised are you, O God, who loves his people Israel, as we rise for the Shema on page 9.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated. See, the cantor had no way of knowing that the opening song should have been Yidid Nefesh Kamo Ayal, right?
Right.
Because you might not have seen the deer. That we planned that. You thought Disney put on a good show. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. I'm continuing on page 11 and you are more than welcome to join me. Adonai, God of the outstretched hand who brought our ancestors out of confinement in Egypt, release all those bodily confined for the pursuit of justice. Release us from the prisons and the calluses we have constructed around our hearts. Release our hands from the shackles we have placed on them and guide them to their work. Release our minds from the deceptions in which they are imposed. Remove exhaustion from our eyelids and bodies. Release our spirits from terror and fear. Renew us that we may be renewed. Set us on our journey to the land we are about to enter. Every weekend under this tree gets better and better, right? I mean, it really does. It gets better and better, and it's one of the things that makes Shabbat memorable. I was thinking as I was caught in traffic on Deal Road, what a blessing the Jersey Shore is. sometimes. But, what is it that makes something so special? It's an anticipation. It's an environment. It's the deer running around. And as I was stuck in traffic, of all places, I was thinking of camp. I haven't thought of camp in quite a while because some of my best memories are from camp. And I'm sure that you also have some great memories. And why am I mentioning this? Because Shabbat is also a time in time and space where we create our own memories. It's our own memories of friendship and of beauty and of being surrounded by nature and a real sense of Shabbat peace.
Vishameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ילai 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ילai כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש
We are the people of Israel, and each one of us in our own way and with our own perspective is keeping this Shabbat. This is a beautiful moment, and it is a moment that elicits prayer. And so we rise for the Amidah.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid, tehilatecha. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid, tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסירים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
You may be seated if you wish. Please join me on page 17 in the middle. Holy are you, the creator of holiness. May all beings greet you as holy each day. Holy am I, created in the image of holiness, that I might greet each being as holy each day. Holy are all beings created in the image of holiness, that they might greet me as holy each day. And holy is this world created as the home of holiness, that all beings might greet each day. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amacha Yisrael, utefilato be'ahava tekabel. Yeah, b'ratzon, utehi l'ratzon tamid, avodat Yisrael amecha. Accept our God from your people Israel, our prayers with love, and may Israel's service always be toward you. We live our lives sometimes with eyes wide open and sometimes shut. The Hoda'ah, the prayer for thanksgiving, reminds us to keep our eyes open, to recognize our blessings. So, what are you grateful for this week? What are you thankful for? Raina. I can't hear you. We are all here, right? Yeah, we're all here, indeed. Anybody else? Barbara.
My grandson Kyle's first anniversary,
Wedding anniversary? Really, wedding, right? Mazel tov. Anybody else? No? Nobody's grateful for anything else? Yeah.
Kabir's not here right now because he's putting in our air conditioner.
Oh, I thought she was going to say, I'm grateful that Kabir's not here right now. Comma, because he's putting in our air conditioner, right? What, like a room air conditioner or a whole house thing?
He's doing the bottom floor, and that kitchen is hot.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, tell him we miss him. But he'll feel better when the air conditioner is plugged in and ready to go. Missy. Yes, and it's good to see you and Stu. You know, you ever notice that Stu always looks very professorial? I mean, he's a professor, so it's great to see you. Did you have a good trip? Fantastic. Okay.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam.
For those who are ill, we say words of healing. And before we pray our own silent prayers. And this evening, we are especially praying for the full recovery of Norm Brosniak. Anybody else have a name for the Misha Beirach? Just the Misha Beirach. Good. Then please join the cantor. This is in C.
On page 27 in C.
Oh, it's on page 27.
Me.
Look at the first person, first note.
Mi shebeirach avoteinu. It's not in C. Mikor habracha limotinu. May the source of strength will bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotinu mikor habracha lavotinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Let's take a moment for your own personal and silent reflection and prayer. So it's always a treat. Excuse me. It's always a treat when a colleague calls and says, "Can I come to your synagogue tonight to pray, to do Shabbat?" You know, I feel like I'm back in first year rabbinic school where the seniors are sitting there making notes, and then they'll give me the notes afterwards and say, "Okay, here's everything you did wrong." I wouldn't do that. I know you wouldn't either. Never. But it really, Rabbi Mark Klein is here with his wife Lori this evening from the wilds of Tinton Falls, right? Oh, it's Long Branch. Of course it's Long Branch. I knew that. I asked Mark if he wanted to, or Rabbi Klein, excuse me. Mark's fine. If he would give the Devar Torah tonight, and I'm honored to invite you to. It's not much of a bima, but come on up.
It's an oak tree.
Huh?
It's an oak tree.
It is an oak tree. Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to give it to you.
What could be better?
Thank you. Rabbi Sai, thank you.
Not so close because it's really loud, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So, Sai, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you all. It's a beautiful Shabbat. This is a beautiful setting for Shabbat. And to all the deer who are out there, you are dear to us. Okay? What?
Go in front of the table. Your feedback. Go in front of the table.
I'll go in front of the table.
The other front. Right.
Okay. It's been an eventful week. This time last week, I guess I'm still in post-concussion protocol. But it made me think about caring community. And so I wanted to share a couple thoughts. I've actually posted this today, and I'm going to, because of that concussion thing, I'm going to read it. And I apologize for some of that, and I probably won't stay with the actual script because I don't ever do that. But you can't ask for a more beautiful setting. And that's really what a faith journey is supposed to be about. There's some incredible poetry in the Siddur that we've been using, and I know we didn't read it all, but I would admonish you to take a couple of moments when we're done tonight to just flip through the pages, to read the number of times that we talk about the faith journey, about what it means to acknowledge the blessings in our lives. And if you meet me any day, the rabbi says I sound evangelical, but I will tell you that I'm blessed every day. Because I am. We all have tzuris in our life, okay? But the question isn't what happens to us, it's what we do with it. So when it comes to the concept of religion, we've got to acknowledge that there's a problem in this world. And this problem is roots in whether we're talking about power or empowerment. If we look at what happens in most houses of worship, we're stuck in this concept of power. We're stuck in someone telling you what it means to be able to be a bar or bat mitzvah. If you don't pay X number of years of dues and you don't attend religious school, then turning 13, which is what bar or bat mitzvah is about, doesn't happen for you. It's like when someone tells me I was never a bar mitzvah, I say, "You never turned 13?" But it doesn't happen. Or as we've seen in the political world, where someone is denied the sacrament in the church because her politics is not appreciated in some places. And I have to ask the question that who gives people the right to deny access to God? And which one of us really has the right or power to decide who God can bless and who God can't bless? And yet, if we look at the way that houses of worship traditionally operate, if you want our services and if you want to celebrate the rituals of our religious tradition, then here are the hoops you have to jump through. And if you don't jump through our hoops, then you don't have access to those celebrations and those rites. And that's probably the greatest indictment that we can levy on the system, because that's absolutely antithetical to what the journey of faith and the relationship with God is supposed to be. I don't use the term interfaith, I use the term interreligious, because it's the same faith, it's God. There's not a different God for each tradition. There's God. And then we get into places where we decide that if you don't see that God my way, you don't belong. And as it's playing out in the current conversation, not only don't you belong here, you don't belong with God. And that's pure hubris, and that's arrogant. And I think it stands in contravention to anything and everything that a faith journey should be about. And so with all of this struggle in mind, I approach this week's Torah portion. So Korach is a Levite. And according to Torah, the Levites are all priests. All of them. And yet we keep hearing the name Moses and the name Aaron as if somehow they're set apart. And they take control of the system. And then Korach comes up and says, wait, I'm a Levite. You guys have just taken too much upon yourselves, and you've decided that you have God and no one else can have God. And this rebellion foments. And after several tests and proofs that, no, it's really Moses and Aaron that God has chosen, Korach and his followers, the earth opens and they're swallowed into a pit. And for part of my rabbinate, by the way, I'm a recovering lawyer, so I don't always see things normally, okay? But for part of my rabbinate, I've always held God accountable for that. And I've always said that, Korach was right. He's a Levite. He has a God-given in the Torah entitlement and to share in bringing God to the people. But especially in the climate today, I remember that neither Moses nor Aaron wanted this power. God kind of forced it on them. And God made sure that despite all of their protests, they were going to be the ones serving. But for Korach, he decided that he had rights. And while he was correct in forcing himself on the system, in imposing himself and his values to be in charge of everything, to the diminution of the ones that God had selected, I understand why the earth opens up and why he gets swallowed and his followers, the people who support the rebellion, who support the ego that drives, I want to be in charge. I want to have power. Moses as a shaman, and even Aaron as the high priest, they empower people. They bring people into figuring out how to have relationships. And but not so Korach. He wanted the relationship. And if this doesn't sound really familiar with a lot of the things that we're reading in the news today, it's uncanny at how relevant Torah is, written thousands of years ago, and yet it's as if we're reading it today. And we are as if it's written today. We're taught that we're supposed to write a Torah, and not necessarily Genesis through Deuteronomy, but each of us has to write a story for our life that is almost like the ethical legacy that we want to leave to those who come after us. What is it about faith that makes us want to share with everyone? And if you want to know what's going on in this world and why people are leaving religion in droves, why thousands of houses of worship every year are closing, it's because they're still rooted in power. These are the rules that you have to follow. So one of my favorite midrashim is a story of a young boy who walks into the sanctuary of a synagogue on Yom Kippur. And they're all davening and they're praying, and the young boy starts screaming out the Aleph Bet. And he gets through the entire Aleph Bet, and everyone's upset because this boy has interrupted their worship. And the rabbi says, "What are you doing? Don't you know what's going on?" And the kid says, "Look, I don't know the prayers. I don't know all the words. God knows the words. And so if I give God all the letters, God can put them in the right order. For me, I've given my heart and my soul to God." And with that, the rabbi very sheepishly looked at the rest of the congregation and acknowledged that they had been schooled. That with all of the prayers and the perfection of the chants and everything pronounced correctly and all of the pomp and all the circumstance, it took this little kid that walks in to demonstrate that faith isn't about the dotting of the I's and the crossing of the T's. It's not about following all of the rules. It's about giving your heart to God. And so in this world where the engagement with a house of worship has traditionally been a place that we're supposed to find sanctity and relationships, and yet we see people running in droves from them, we have to ask, what will be the tomorrow for us? And if we want houses of worship to flourish, then we can't be the Korach demanding your attention and demanding the representation and demanding the power. No, we have to find places that empower us to celebrate our journeys, each of us individually. No differently than the silent prayer that we jointly uttered privately that was all different. No differently than each of us, if we were asked to define God, we'd have some different way of describing that relationship. That's the sacred engagement in this world. And for houses of worship to return to primacy on our faith journeys, we have to change all of the conversations so that we remember why we were put together to begin with. And so in this day and age, when there's so much that's ripping us apart, I think we need to find ways to come back from our exile from each other and our need to lord ourselves over each other to a place where we can engage in heart and soul and walk faithfully, even if we disagree, but to walk faithfully and respectfully together, holding each other in our journeys to God. So amen, amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Yeah. Can I add one other thing?
Please.
So that was a really good on one foot about Korach with his rebellion. And you would think that the tradition had nothing to do with Korach. Okay, he rebelled against Moses. He was eaten by the earth. Gesundheit, let's never talk about him again. And yet, there are psalms that are written ostensibly by Korach. So, right, and it says a psalm to Korach, although it doesn't actually use the word psalm. But Korach is said to be the author. So even with Korach's mishagas and his ego, he still continues to inspire. Maybe not the right way in some ways, but definitely in the right way for others. Just a little nachamta. No, thank you. Right, page 20. Forgot where we are. Page 20. I'm still thinking about Korah. Page 23. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atid gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kiloyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'gor alinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim
Umodim.
לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Sometimes things just work out really, really well. You ever notice that? So when she was singing Bayom Hahu, which means on that day, everybody will be one and we'll all kumbaya, the train horn went off on exactly the same note at the same time. It was like a shofar at El Baron Station.
Just wait till the birds come in the
Wait
same...
till the birds come in and wait for you to sing, yeah. We pause, even in this moment of joy, as we bring to mind those who died at this season in years past. This evening we remember Max Aaron and Bella Ballin, Edgar Bamberger, Irene Barnett, Giselle Langberger, Herman Bess, Elias Cohen, Dr. J. Cohen, Samuel Cooper, David Gelb, Nathan Gutman, Lawrence Gutentag, Barry Halpern, William Herrer, Selena Iber, Edna Kanarek, Harry Katz, Henry A. Klein, Dr. Jack Cremens, Louis Landberg, Robert Lysott, Miriam Phillips Meyer, and Dr. Nathan Miller, Saul Moss, Samuel Rubman, Jeanette Russiano, Lena Salinger, Rosabelle Silberstein, Celia Silverstein, Jack Stein, Judith Peck, Louis Bernard Jr., and in the past past 7 days, Libby Gold, the beloved mother of Bobby Newman, and Victor Lefkowitz, the brother of Ed Lefkowitz and the son of Rabbi Lefkowitz, who passed away. Okay? And we also remember Lenore Miller, and this is her anniversary, 5 years, right? 5 years. Are there any other names that you'd like mentioned for the yard sites? Okay. Please join with me, if you would, on page 25. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chai echon u'v'yom echon, u'v'chayei dechal beit Yisrael, b'gala u'v'zman kariv v'meru.
Amen.
Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lanmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudusha, Le'ela minkal birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alama v'imeru. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim alena v'akol Yisrael v'imeru. Ose shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom alena v'akol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say, Amen. You may be seated.
Right. I'm not used to holding a microphone. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome to this beautiful night. And don't ever scare me like that again.
It was unintentional as far as you know.
Okay. So thank you to Andy and Cantor Marnie and Rabbi Sai for leading us in services. And thank you to Rabbi Mark for the Devar Torah, and nice to meet you too, his wife. And Andy, I noticed something about you tonight. You are singing along to some of the Hebrew words.
I do.
And that's really cool. So you are a man of very many, what's the word I'm looking for?
I'm not sure.
Talents.
But I enjoy it.
I'm
I
glad.
do enjoy it.
Thank you. And it's nice to see so many of you there. Stu, you didn't know it was me when I turned around and waved. Oh, okay. Short. So I love to learn things at services. And tonight, one other thing I have to say. So besides Adir loving being here on Friday night, I think the other person who loves to be here the most is Raina Reisler. One of the times I walked back here tonight, I walked with her, and she just loves being outside at our services, and that's really, really cool. So thank you for always joining us. So I love to learn things, and I love to meet new people. And tonight I met Mr. Keith Miller, whose name I have seen in the membership list because I've had one for years. But what I didn't know was you were in the original confirmation class at Temple Beth Miriam when it was on Bath Avenue. The first one here. Okay. And the first one here, how about that? And I know when the temple opened, and if you want to know when this temple opened, go to our website because it has a really cool history of it. And your dad was your grandfather. See, my memory, Harry, my memory. Your grandfather was president of the temple when it was on Bath Avenue and here. So how about that? I didn't know these things. Some improvements are coming up in the next couple of months. Thanks to Don Pingator looking into our situation with handicap parking. I brought it up at a family affair meeting on Zoom. I've never liked the parking being back here. I've never liked the dumpsters being back there. And how in the world do you get inside during regular services? So we are looking into all that. We are making some new parking spaces that will be closer to the entrance to the temple. And I'm really excited about it. It's going to take several months to do this, but I'm hoping it will be done by the high holidays. So, and is it August? I don't remember. Harry, do you remember when the Blue Claws game is? It is in August. Okay, Jewish Heritage Night is in August at, the Lakewood Jewish Blue Claws Stadium. And our temple is going, and if you would like to join us too, I think it's $10 for a ticket, and you get food, and you get all sorts of stuff, and entry, and that's on our website too. You can pay through our new Shul Cloud, or you can call the office for further details. And believe it or not, we are getting ready for the holidays. I know that these guys are getting ready for the holidays, and I am too. And even though they're later in September and they're in the beginning of October, you can never be ready too early. So thank you again for coming tonight. Shabbat Shalom. Don't drive home on Deal Road. If you're going to cross Route 35, they're having a festival and fireworks at the Deal Test. Oh, it's no longer. Palea Park. Thank you.
So I'm looking forward to the Blue Claws game, and I'm also grateful that I was not asked to do the opening pitch again this year. I heard from a scout after my opening pitch a few years ago, and unfortunately it was a Boy Scout, and he said that he could throw better than I could. Yeah. Are there any other announcements? Oh, I forgot the motzi, right? I forgot the motzi. Let's motzify. Motzi lechem in haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices join in song together, as our joyful prayer said, blessings to the deer for the air conditioning. And I noticed that you're outside and it's cool. That's okay. That's okay. And good. Our closing, yes. Oh. Yes. Oh my God.
Should we do birthday blessings next week?
Can we do birthday blessings next week?
We need to have the pencils. The pencils aren't here.
Yeah. This is how I plan to get people to services. I promise them something, I take it away. Okay, please.
And we'll have the pencils.
And you have to remind me too.
Okay.
What color pencil do you want? I'll have to make sure I have them. Mark and Lori, we are delighted you joined us. Come anytime.
Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai varech et amo. Adonai varech et amo b'shalom. Adonai varech et amo b'shalom, b'shalom. Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai varech et amo. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless us and keep us all.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's face shine upon us and be gracious to all of us.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom.
May God's face shine over all of us and give us all the blessings of peace. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. And Teo has made a beautiful oneg for us, so everybody come on in. Shabbat Shalom. Nice job, Andy.
That was an endearing service.
And I got to see one of the deer when he walked that way. Because I never get to see them.
I'm trying to think of a pun,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
know
really
you
hard
are.
to think of a deer pun.
It is.
I'm thinking of something with elk.
Elk?
No, not ilk.
Elk.
But it was fun. Nice job.
It was fun.
Thank you, Barney. All right.
So those high holy days,
Yeah, I got to look at the dates.
when do they start?
Sometime the endish of September,
End of September.
endish in October. But they're all during the week. I don't think there's any weekend.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I may have some business travel, so I just want to make sure it's not in that
Yeah.